What's up, guys? This is Dalton with Financial Trades, and I'm going to be going over insider bar trading. And I'm also going to teach how I create my watch list and go over the watch list that I created this morning and see how well it worked, and potentially show you guys how I'm creating these watch lists so you can create them yourself for very good percentage trades. I've been doing this for a while now, and I've been backtesting it. This insider bar trading is actually very efficient with direction because it's focused on progression within the stock. After a large spread day, which basically to me means there's an open price and there's a closing price, and there is just progression. There's a huge difference between the two, typically forming a large body candle on the daily, right? To me, that's a large spread for one day. So you're looking for the stock to progress, right? If there's no progression, then there's sideways trading. That is the whole goal of my trading, is to trade direction, trade progression, or decline. But I do not like to trade sideways trading. So let's get into this just a little bit here. I'm going to show you guys how I created my watch list today. First, we need to go over my watch list. So from today, the first thing I put out was SPY. SPY currently gapped up this morning in pre-market. It was getting past that 418 level that we couldn't really get past for the longest time, as shown here. We have 419 rejection, 420 rejection, 420 rejection, and 418 rejection. Over here, 418 as well. Right here, 416. So we have tried to go higher and we couldn't. Today was the first time where we reached 422. So we're slowly getting up there, but we are getting up there. So let's see. After that, I did say it seems bullish. It's given us entry for longs. And so we do have to be considerate of the news that is coming out soon, which creates more risk while trading, which is the debt ceiling problem that we're trying to resolve in the market at the moment. Your IB levels, which is your insider bar levels, are 425 and 436. I said getting above the first price is the entire goal for any long position. If we push above with smaller time frames showing direction, then I'll most likely increase my position as the market makes progress. I did do a forewarning, though, with the beware of any retest on this breakout and pre-market. SPY could drop to 420 before pushing higher. And out of all this, this was the case today. SPY indeed dropped to 420 before pushing higher. But let's just go over how I came up with some of these levels, how I knew what was going to happen. How could I even make this prediction in the stock market? Because this is a pretty big prediction for something like this to come true. So first of all, insider bar trading is coming up with, let's see, I call them mother candles. So how it works is you are doing this on the daily and you're finding large body candles. They typically don't have the biggest wicks. The ones with the big wicks I don't like. For example, this one. This one right here is the one I do not like. Yes, it has a huge body. It's a huge body candle, but there's a large wick to the downside, which could potentially mess up a prediction trying to predict this with this wick. It shows too much movement within price, wasn't a clear direction. So you can see there's quite a few of them that you could have done this with. But for today, here was our insider bar on the daily. It was an open price of 415 with a closing price of 420 with a high of 420.78. So not too much higher to where that closing price is, showing that the stock somewhat had an all-day uptrend, which is good. That's what we're looking for. So you ask yourself basically one question. I mean, in order to trade this, there's a couple things this can do. We can fail to get past our highs and trade sideways within this candle, right? We're trading within the prior day price, or price begins to push higher, right? We push above these highs and we make a progression, which is what we'd like. Or we start trading back into price and then we trade out of that prior day and we even go lower. So there's a few things that can happen. But what am I looking for? I'm looking for the stock to go higher than this day or lower than this day. Anything in between, I considered sideways trading. So it's quite simple. Once you figured out this mother candle on the daily, we are going to mark our IB levels, which are going to consist of marking your open and your closing price. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here on this chart so we can get an accurate bar. And there's our closing price, and here is our opening price, right? So when I mark these, I like to mark these together so I know that I'm looking at the same candle, because sometimes I will mark other insider bars and you'll have more levels on your chart. So for this one, we'll go IB1, and I have it labeled on the right-hand side. You can even customize that to make it show in the center. Now it's in the center. So we'll do this one as IB2, IB level 2. And we'll make this one in the center as well. Okay, so now we mark this. Now we know what we're looking for. You have clear longs above 420. And you have a clear short below 415. Now, depending on how this looks, you also have a pretty clear short under 420 as well, if you know how to play it. So, for the risk and reward ratio and for entries, you can base off that support and resistance on lower time frames. But in this case, for like a long position, you could easily put a stop loss somewhere down here, trying to shoot above, trying to catch the progression within the market, right? You're wanting the stock price to push higher and higher and higher, and you want to ride it. You're seeing that price is opening above the prior day. It's making progression. As long as the buying continues, we should continue going up, right? Because we are trading above prior day's price, which is good. If price does not tend to stay above and doesn't end up pushing higher, you have a pretty clear short position. You could put a risk to reward ratio here with the stop loss like this, targeting your 415 level. Now, you're still going to have a little bit of experience to do this because going into these trades, it's easy on the daily, but trading it per minute or per second or 10 minute, 5 minute, it's a little different. So why did I assume that we were going to come down to 420 first? Well, I assumed that only because we were actually stuck between a target level and our long entry, right? So if we were going to get longs based off this strategy, we were going to be hoping that we can get a direct entry on this level with a push above. But considering that we were opening all the way up here at 422, it didn't really allow us to get a perfect entry on 420 with a perfect risk to reward ratio and stop loss. So that is why you could have shot for the lower level once you saw the stock not making any progression on the minute, right? We opened up with no direction. Our EMAs were trading sideways until we got a little bit of direction downwards. Here's your equilibrium in the market, right? It's where the buyers and sellers are equal, hence the doji candles. If we zoom in, there's probably some high volume here as well. Yeah, very, very high volume on this sell candle right here. So this almost acted as like a supply zone right here. Okay, perfect. So once you come up with that on the daily, those are our IB levels. Those are our upwards and downwards predictions. Now we have to come up with price targets, right? Because we know if it gets below 420, we can target 415, right? But if it gets above 420, obviously we could go long, but with what target, right? What's our end goal? What are we targeting? Where are we trying to get out? How much money are we trying to make? So if we scroll out, we can potentially find more insider bar candles, right? So this isn't a bad one to validate a double support, right? So if you drew the top of this, you can now see that you have a double support here that price might push off of. This is a top of an insider bar. If you were really playing this, you would have had one at the bottom as well. But considering that we haven't been on the top, we're just going to draw the top and play the top because that's where price is currently trading at. Down here, it's really irrelevant because price is not there yet, right? So we could mark this one. You do have a gap within the chart, but I like to target the big body candles. So I do see this big body candle with little wicks, and it hasn't really been touched anywhere at the top. So I consider these candles having to be filled all the way, and the best way to play them are the ones that haven't been filled, right? So with this in mind, this candle has not been filled yet. Price is yet to return into this area. So what I would do is I'd mark the closing and the opening of this, and then we'd mark them. We mark them IB1, make it red, color code them. We mark this one as IB2, make it red. So now when we go over here, we now have all this space that we know that has yet to been filled yet, and we have a secondary long position entry. So if we're able to get a long entry here with a target of here, you can potentially scale out of your position and wait for confirmation for our secondary long entry, right? So now we know with these insider bars that we have a valid short below 419 with a perfect risk to reward ratio and a price target of 415. And we also know if we're able to stay above and price does not go lower at all, we have a perfect long position targeting 426. And if we're able to get above 426, you would most likely scale out a majority of your position, wait for confirmation, and potentially add more. Then you could go up and target another $10 move as well. So that right there is how you trade insider bars. That's how I trade insider bars. That's how I come up with my price targets and where we're going. If we pull up my watch list from this morning, you can see that I had my IB levels of that 425.92, which is here, the 426, and then the 436.87, which is here. So these were the two levels I was talking about in my watch list that I wanted price to get above so we can continue our long position. So we can go over some of these other ones, right? So I had NVIDIA on here too. I said NVIDIA, I had breaking all-time high. I wouldn't even try to short this until it shows good signs of selling under 380. I said without that, you will have sideways trading for a week or more uptrend, right? So let's go over why I think that. If we go to NVIDIA, right, because NVIDIA just came out with earnings, it did break an all-time high, as we can see here. Here's your all-time high of 350, 346. It is currently trading at like 427, 412-ish. So when you have a stock trading in a zone where nothing has ever been that high before on the chart, you can't really predict anything. You can't go off anything. The only thing you can go off is prior price, right? So you have to have some type of discipline. You have to have some type of plan. In this case, I think I had a 4-hour plan. So a 4-hour plan for me was our 4-hour insider bar. I went ahead and drew a market 380.67 and a market 305.27, right? So these are going to be our insider bars. This is going to create a little bit of discipline within our trading. We know that the stock had a very large move upwards, which would make us believe that it's overextended and it's a potential short, on which it might be, but we have to not be so quick on shorting stuff that is overextended because, as we all know, I've shorted things that's been overextended, and it continues to go higher and higher and higher. So you make some boundaries saying, if this was the open and this was the close, and we're steadily still pushing higher and price is still showing momentum towards the upside, there's no reason to try to force the trade to the downside. We make rules. We need price back under 380 before a valid short is in place. Why is that? Because if it doesn't get below 380, it's not showing signs of resistance, right? We need to see signs of resistance, a failure to go higher, so we can potentially target lower, right? So this could be a very good short position here with a risk to reward ratio targeting back down to like 305 or something. Or you can target like all-time high, right? You can go back to the daily and you can mark your all-time high. And then now you know to not target the bottom of the zone. Now you know maybe you can only target 332. The bottom of the zone is 304, but the odds of it going there when you have your all-time high at 333, which is now a support level, I would target the support level rather than the entire move, right? But like I said, we got to get under 380 first. That was on my watch list this morning. That did very good. We continued to progress upwards until the end of the day. It started to sell off a little bit. So still not a valid short. It's not a good risk to reward ratio. Not a lot of money to be made here safely, I would first say. So let's go ahead and look at a little bit more. Let's go over Tesla, right? Okay, so we have Tesla here. Tesla is a very good one. I enjoy Tesla. And I'm going to mark these levels out with you guys, even though I already have them marked. So for Tesla. Okay, so I marked that one. Okay, this was a good one. It has been filled. But here's a perfect insider bar candle. Little to no wicks. And obviously a large uptrend day. We can go ahead and mark these levels. We can go IB1 and IB2. And you can see these symbols popping up at the right hand of my chart. This is just so everything's color coordinated. I know that this IB1 goes with this IB2, and I know that this is the same spread and the same candle because they're both red. I will just change the color if it's a different candle to keep it organized, to know which point goes with which point, right? We get below 188, I know to target 180. So you can see this on a smaller level on how this was working prior. Right here, it would have worked. And then right here, it would have worked as well. Pushing up, you get above, there's your long. So we go back on the daily. And right here. So I'm focused on two candles here. This right here is a large body candle. And this right here is a large body candle as well. These are two very good insider bar candles with potential price targets. So we can go here on Tesla and here on Tesla for more long entries, right? So create our arrows as we're doing this. Perfect. So let's call these, we'll go IB2, make this yellow. And we will go IB1 and make this yellow. Okay, so now we got two insider bars with very good confirmation of upside anywhere above 188 with smaller time frame direction. You should be seeing a push upwards. Let's go over the watch list a little bit. So Tesla's pushing higher as well with the retest or with the rest of the market. We got a good long position over 197.60, right? This level right here that we just marked. So with a target of 207, right? Target of 207 right here. If price doesn't hold, watch for shorts below 197.60 with a target of 190, right? So if it doesn't hold this 197, we're targeting 190, which is this bottom insider bar level, right? So if we take that away, you can now potentially see it more clear. We can mark the top of this insider bar as well to give it a little bit of like a double support type-ish. So we can go like IB1. We can make this blue. So I do this, right? So why do I put two levels on top of each other like this? I do that because it creates almost like a zone of support rather than like a specific support level. So I know that price has gone so far above these two levels with no retest that if we were to come back down into these levels, it's not like we're going to retest them and bounce right back up perfectly or hit this one and bounce back up perfectly. We'll probably come in between the two. You'll probably see price come like directly in between the two levels and then bounce. So it's more like a zone of support that should work quite nicely if price were to come back below 197. It's just like a double cautionary for me, at least. So this was the Tesla watch list. Pretty good, back tested, works, perfect long entries. Okay, so what else we got? We have got, let's see, Microsoft. So Microsoft triggered every long position we had. Very nice breakout above each and every level. Now, only thing I have is waiting for a short. I said way too high to play the upside. So just set an alert under 332 for a short, target 320. So let's go ahead and check Microsoft, right? Okay, let's go ahead and start drawing our levels here. So I know this is a large daily candle here. Perfect insider bar for us to mark. So we can go ahead. You can actually see my 305 alert for any potential shorts on this stock. So there's IB level 2, and we can mark this IB level 1. Okay, so perfect insider bar here. Short position below. Long position above. As you see, it stayed above forever. This is when we have to zoom out. Oh, I see. Okay, so it was here. Yeah, I didn't see this. Okay, so perfect. So we go over here. Here's our insider bar candle. Like I said, it works best if you know price hasn't filled it all the way. I treat these like gaps. So all this price up here, it has not been filled. It has not been touched ever since it was created. But it has now. So what we're going to do is what we did do is mark this IB level. So this is IB. This is IB1. Okay, so you had a long position above 305 with the target price of 320, right? So we have to create this as well. This is IB1. And this is IB2. Okay, so for this day, longs above, shorts below. Longs above, shorts below. So now we have that, and we go over our watch list again. So we said specifically, Microsoft triggered every long position we had right? So here was the long entry trigger, target of 320. Major rejection, got above 320. That's your secondary long position trigger, with no target really on that one. But long, absolutely. I said here, way too high to play the upside. So just now set an alert under 332 for a short, target 320. All right. So there was that alert for 332. Anything below 332, go for the short. We can scale down to the hour zone and see how this could have potentially worked. We did open quite high with that major sell-off under 332. Sold all the way down to 330 with the bounce at this little support level here. And price seems as if it's trying to come back up. But we did use that 333 level as a major resistance multiple different times, right? Now we have to watch it. Are we going to stay below? If we stay below, we still have a valid short all the way down to 320 or at least 323, right? So definitely keep a watch on this. And you also have a long if we get above, but you still want to wait for direction on smaller time frames too. So you can't just automatically go long above it. You want to see these EMAs show clear direction together, which not only are you breaking above a long position entry, but you have more confirmation because it's directional, right? So that's very good for any trade. What else do we have over here? We got Netflix. Oh, Netflix, I think, was really good on that short because I was watching it. So Netflix. Perfect. So we'll go IB1 on the daily. And then we will go IB2 on the daily. And I went over to where we were trading at. And for me, I marked this one. And we will go IB1 yellow with IB2 yellow. So now we have longs above, short below, with a short below, and longs above here. So you go to 3 hours. Here was your long entry confirmation. It's actually the first time ever since we created it that we actually got above it. And we were able to break out and reach our target of 402. So if we look at the watch list, right? So Netflix triggered our long 371.31, which is here, running up to $400, which is here. Another long entry above 402, but watch for resistance as well and false breakouts above. This can fall back to 371. It really can fall back down to 371. So you got to watch out for false breakouts, right? So there was definitely false breakouts here. That opening false breakout was huge. Right above that 402 for a false entry for a long with a major sell-off. So you definitely got to be aware of that. But as you can see, if we go to like a 1 minute time frame, this was not too directional. And not only that, you were breaking above a pre-market high with not a good retest and large selling pressure. So what else do we have? We did ES. I forgot to double check ES. So let's double check ES here on one of my main charts. Okay, perfect. So this is ES on one of my main charts using insider bar entries and exits. You can clearly see that we had long entries above 42.31 that we could not stay above. So it showed us multiple times that we were not strong enough to push higher. We couldn't go higher. We topped out, double topped. Selling pressure was heavy, large red candles pushing us back below every single time, showing you that there was resistance and we weren't really pushing higher. So just because we were above it and that was our long entry, you still have to take into consideration how the stock is reacting to it. Are we really pushing up, or is it just above it, right? In this case, we were just above it. It wasn't really pushing up. It was showing signs of resistance, and we still didn't even push above that pre-market high that it created as well. We stayed below that the entire time. So now this is giving us a solid short entry. We are well below 42.13. So that right there is a little bit how I create my watch lists and how I create my price predictions based off insider bar trading. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, maybe even subscribe, and I will do more videos just like this video.